Hello, hello. How are you guys? I'm so excited to share this little story with you. I'm Colleen. If you're just meeting me for the first time, Colleen Wynia. I'm a Reset Your Vibe energy vision coach and a spiritual intuitive, and I love helping people in their health. And I want to share this story with you. So if you're popping on here, guys, stay tuned. Let's get squashing the woo-woo of the spiritual questioning. Okay, so yesterday a client had a call. What were we doing? We started with a Zoom and then we ended up on the phone because she's a truck driver and she's a traveler, and the disconnect, the connection with the Wi-Fi was not so good. So she reached out to me because anyone here experienced loss, right? Now I'm talking about loss of self, but also loss of a loved one. And so today we're going to talk about a little story that happened yesterday to help you embrace this even more, and just to be a voice to spirit who is constantly cheerleading us on. Okay, so she and I, we started the call, and the reason she reached out was her mom passed away 8-9 months ago, back in September. And she didn't identify how much she was grieving, but she first reached out to me because she came across an article, something that I had, maybe it was my YouTube video. She had a moving object, and it's happened more than once, so it got her Googling, it got her reaching out and like trying to figure out what's going on. And it's like, so what happened is she had a picture on the wall, and it's happened 2 times, and the picture on the wall had love quotes, and these love quotes and love messages were originally at her mom's home, and now they're infiltrated her home, right? So where she's living now, she has her memorabilia and her connection with her mom. And so one night, not too long ago, just like 2 days prior to our call yesterday, she heard this thing crash and it fell down. It's a glass pitcher, and it fell down and it did not break. The frame was intact, the glass was intact, and it landed so eloquently on the arm of the couch. And so there were these repeated messages that I was picking up that were connecting the dots. And it turned out, so she's questioning, like, is that my mom? So, we were able to tap into like the message where she has a hard time loving herself, and her mom had been constantly telling her, like, give yourself a break, take the load off. You kind of like, she's a truck driver, so I think of like loads. And so I kept seeing these phrases, lighten the load, lighten the load. So I spoke that to her. I downloaded the information, and her mom's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, no, this client of mine, she's trying to remember this story, how it kind of goes, but she heard the message from me, and then she's like, oh my God, my mom used to tell me that all the time. She's like, don't beat yourself up, don't be so hard on yourself. And this client of mine, she's like, always was like, really the most deepest painful part was she couldn't do anything, and she really wanted to give her heart, wanted to give her kidney if she could, to keep her mom living longer. And at the same time, she's got the messages that she is, her mom was tired, and her mom knew that it wasn't her daughter's responsibility to help anymore. But when you're carrying around like this grief and loss and this like lack of ability to forgive yourself, well, this is what what she was facing. And it was really, really painful for her, and she was not really embracing the pain and that type of thing. So then there was another time where it was just before that, same thing. It was like, she's questioning, like, is my mom mad at me? Like, is my mom mad at me? Just take that in for a minute. Your mom's passed away. You've done your best. You feel, though, like, I know she did her best, but she feels like she didn't. And that is a part within her framework, within her neural pathways, within her past, that has told her that she, she's not good enough. She has to do better. She's not trying hard enough, so she strains herself, and she feels pain, and she feels grief, and she beats herself up, right? Does anybody relate to that? Has there been a time in your life where you've lost a loved one, or, you did something and you just didn't feel like you did a good enough job? So her mom, like, not only like is trying to get the message across to her once, but she does it again, where again, another picture, similar frequency, love quote, falls, doesn't break. And my client's just like, how is that freaking possible? Normally the situation would be like, breaking tons of pieces. So this was, you know, I was able to help her kind of connect the dots and really start to see inside of her, like, why her mom is showing up. So explain to her as well that I was picking up from her mom that, like, all these messages, that this is where she needs to go now. She needs to take care of herself from the inside and learn those, you know, neural pathways that, you know, that message, those stories, that narrative that she bought into, and be able to shift it so that it's no longer holding her back from really doing what she wants to do. So she's made some inroads, you know, she's back on the road, truck driving from state to state kind of thing, versus only in, you know, locally. And she's started to, you know, take care of her health. She lost a lot of weight from grief. That happens. So if any of you guys are kind of like questioning the signs as to, like, how do you relate to the signs in your body? How do you relate it to loved ones who've passed over? And how does that relate to your business? Well, that's what I do here. So one-to-one, and in my particularly in my Crystallize Your Vision program. And message me if you're interested in this conversation. You want to know how you can resolve pain that could be in your heart and also physically in your body. Because for me, when I get over anxious, you know, there's, you know, the messages, there's in your body, there's your low back for financial stability, not feeling supported, not feeling, you know, in your heart, there's a lot of anger that can be carried there. Your shoulders can carry a lot of the burden. So, you know, it's time to go, guys. So reach out to me and ask me about the YouTube playlist that I have that is specific to spiritual signs. You could see some videos that are stories of mine for the last 25 years and how it relates to life, and also some specific stories where objects have been moved, electricity has been played with. You know, this is really common knowledge now, you guys. So thanks for listening to my story. I'm just so thrilled that this girl, you know, she's a little scared. She's like, oh, if I work with you, would my mom show up? I'm scared. I don't want to see the vision of her. And I said, no, you know, your mom will meet you where you're ready to be met. Maybe a little bit of fear, maybe take a little bit of courage to listen and be supported by myself. And, you know, what's the other option, guys, right? Crawl into the hole, go, you know, stay down, stay low. So I show people how to trust their intuition, tap into your emotional genius, and use those tools from my 5-point star approach, where you're tapping into your emotional well-being. You're moving your body in all these multitude of ways. You're priming your body, which is good nutrition. You're aligning yourself with self, source, and others. And that's really where the key is, guys. And then lastly, you're monetizing your creativity. So imagine my star's on the inside. But this is a place where if it's time for you, you may be a perfect fit for my program. And I can't wait to meet you guys. If we're just meeting for the first time, have yourself a beautiful evening. And remember your loved ones who've transitioned, plus the signs of your angels. They're your greatest spiritual cheerleaders.